Shalom, Israel. This is Elder Stephen coming to you one more time to give you another little bit of information. This class is going to be about the spiritual understanding of the Passover. You have to understand what the Passover is about. So now, with the time coming, the Passover is maybe a month and a half away. So now you have to prepare yourself to observe that particular high holy day. What you don't understand is the way that you have been celebrating and observing the Passover is carnal. Again, we are not going to be graded on our proper execution of the carnal law. You're going to be graded on the execution of the spiritual law because that's the new covenant. Okay? So if you're worshiping and you're observing carnally, you are breaking the spiritual understanding. Now, I want to make sure you understand. If you want to do Passover as a tradition, you say, well, I like to, gather people to my home and so forth, and we go and we eat the Passover, this is just a tradition that we have in our house. That's one thing, right? But the traditions are not recognized by the Most High. That's just something that you're doing yourself. The problem comes when you start saying that if you don't do this tradition, you can't get the kingdom, right? Remember, what our job is to explain to you what the spiritual understanding of the law is talking about. That's what we're doing. We're explaining it to you. You have to know the spiritual understanding of the law in order to get the kingdom. This is a carnal versus spiritual situation that's going on now. And so the leaders of darkness are controlling the world right now. And so you're following the leaders of darkness. When the Bible says darkness, it's talking about ignorance, meaning they don't understand. You have to leave the darkness and come over into the light. The light is Christ. Christ is the word, the spiritual law. And we're going to get it for you that the spiritual law is the comforter. So it's a lot of things that you have to do. You have to change. You have to change. You have to convert from the carnal man to the spiritual man. That's what Jacob did. He converted from Jacob, the carnal man, to Israel, the spiritual man. We'll get to it, but we just want to make sure that everything that we say, right, from this Bible that we're teaching you, we're telling you the Bible is written two different ways. It's written in the carnal, which you have learned. The carnal represents Moses' law, which was a shadow of things to come. Christ came, he died. When he died, the veil rent in two. Veil is a garment. Garment, spiritually, is a doctrine. So he's telling you the veil rent in two, meaning Moses' law. The veil is talking about, there's a veil that separates, back in the day, that separated the rest of the temple from the Holy of Holies. That's where the Ark of the Covenant was, and that's where the high priest went to commune with the Most High. All right? He's telling you the veil rent in two because in Hebrew it says that Christ now is of the order of Melchizedek, and that the order of Aaron is done. Because Christ, he don't have to go into a side room with a veil to talk to the Most High. He's sitting at the right hand of the Most High. So your high priest doesn't have to do that anymore. So all of that's done with. That's done and away with. So you have to recognize now that Christ sits on the right hand of the Most High. All right. So that covenant's over with. We're under a new covenant. We explained to you in Romans 7 that we were under a new covenant, right? The husband died and we got remarried whenever Christ rose up again. All right. All that stuff means something. Go back to those videos on the Elders of Israel website, on the Elders of Israel YouTube page, and check that stuff out. That stuff's important. It's going to help you build your foundation so that you understand what we're talking about. All right. So let's get into this about Passover. The first thing you got to understand is that Christ left us a comforter. The comforter is the guide. The comforter is going to show you what you need to do now that Christ, the physical man, is gone. All right. We're going to go to John 14 and 15 first. John 14 and 15 says, if you love me, keep my commandments. All right. And then it says, verse 16, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. The comforter is the spiritual law. Now, I'm going to explain it to you. We're going to keep going. But let's go first to see that the comforter is the word, first of all. Let's go to John 1. Christ is the word, and the word is the comforter. John 1 and 1 says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. If you jump down to verse 14, it says, and the word was made flesh, that's Christ, and dwelled among us, that's him, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Christ is the word. All right. So let's go back to John 14 and 16. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth. The Spirit of truth. Truth. You all know, you've learned, truth is the law. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. The truth is the law. So when it says, verse 17, even the Spirit of truth, truth, law, spirit, law, spiritual law. That's what it's telling you. It's telling you the name is the recipe. It's telling you what it is. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. They can't receive it because they're still believing in Moses' doctrine. That's what they're doing. They're cleaving to the carnal law. There's power carnally in the carnal law. There's no power in the spiritual law because you become your own advocate, because you are communing directly with the spirit of this Bible, and you're making an adjustment. You're not going to a guide. You're just like that ant. You're not going to a guide or an overseer or a ruler, in order to get your understanding. You're getting it directly from the book. The prophet's job is to tell you what you need to know. That's what I'm doing. I'm telling you what you need to know. I didn't say, okay, now that in order for me to continue to tell you what you need to know, I'm going to need you to come and cook me breakfast. I'm going to need you to give me all your money. The Most High didn't raise us to do that. He told us to go and teach. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be teaching. That's what I'm doing. I'm teaching you. I'm telling you what you need to know. When you get out of that mind frame that you need a man in order to get the kingdom, once you get out of that mind frame, you'll be able to do for yourself. Because I'm not going to put you in heaven. You're going to put you in heaven. Let me get you a scripture right quick. Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 14. Let's see. Listen very closely, because the Most High about to tell you something. He said, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, those are three righteous men, big time heroes in the Bible. Big time. So he's using them as an example. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, saith the Lord. You have to deliver your own soul. A man can't do it. You can't say, well, I'm just going to depend on this man to tell me everything. And if I give him money and I follow what he says, I'll get the kingdom. It don't say that. It say they can only deliver their own soul. Their own. Whatever man that you're following that you think is going to help you to get the kingdom because you're associated with him, you're making an error. Because you're the only one that can save you. Stop giving these men power over you and start doing what the book said. The first part that we're going to do about what we're going to get accomplished is we're going to explain to you that you have to be obedient to the Most High. You can't listen to a man. So we're going to go back to John 14, right? And we read verse 16. It says, and I will pray, John chapter 14, verse 16. I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not. They can't see it. They can't see that it's the spiritual law. Neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you and shall be in you. He's telling you, he's going to be in you once you start learning. That's my job. That's the prophet's job. All these prophets out here who prophesying for wealth and money, they're prophesying for themselves. They're not trying to help you. The job of the prophet is to teach the people. Okay, so now let's go to Hosea, because when I start talking spiritual, everybody starts getting this confused look like I'm doing something spooky, but I'm not doing anything spooky. Those other people, they don't understand it. The Most High told you, stop doing Moses' law. He told you a lot of different ways. He showed you the transfiguration. They showed you Moses. Then they showed you Elijah, the prophets. They said, we'll build, and then Christ came in. And the prophet and the disciples said, well, we'll build three tabernacles, one for Moses, one for Elijah, and one for Christ. And the voice came out of heaven saying, hear ye him, meaning Christ. Because the Bible is written two different ways. The words means one thing carnally, it means something else spiritually, right? Christ came and he was the first prophet to speak spiritually. He was speaking spiritually, and he taught it to his disciples. They were teaching the people to look at the Bible spiritually. That's his covenant, right? So now you go back to what Moses said and what he wrote, and you go back to what the prophets said and what they wrote, and you look at them and the words mean something different if you look at them spiritually, right? You got to have spiritual eyes to see it. That's why we keep talking about these little definitions, right? So, but the Most High told you to listen to Christ. But the problem is the people are not obedient. They can't see it. They're not obedient. They can't see the value of the spiritual law. So we're going to read a couple of scriptures to get you in the mind frame. We're going to start at Hosea 6:6. Listen, you have to listen to what the Most High says. If you don't listen to what the Most High says, He's going to reject you. He told you to do something. What you're learning is going to be your defense against the wicked. Because the wicked, they're going to use the book in order to confuse you to follow them. You can't see their tricks and their snares unless you see them spiritually. You'd never see it. But once you start understanding what the book's saying, you're going to look at them, you're going to say, he made that up. He made that up. Because it's not backed up in the scriptures. They don't know how to read this book spiritually. So they threw away half the book. They don't know what it's talking about. They know what it's talking about according to Moses now. But they don't know what Christ said. Christ said do something different. What they did was they mixed those doctrines. And they became giants. That's what that's talking about. Sons of men, daughters of women, daughters of man, mixed, came in unto them, saw they was fair. It's talking about doctrines. They mixed doctrines and became giants, mighty men. That's what that's talking about. Y'all don't even know what that book talking about. All the while y'all thinking, well, it's talking about a man who was 17 feet tall. They mixed the doctrine. It's a similitude. It's a similitude. But Most High told you to do something. He said, do what I say. He said, choose spiritual and not carnal. He said it a lot of different ways, but y'all don't understand. Let's get this right quick. We're going to Hosea 6:6. And it says, now this is the Most High. For I desire mercy, that's a spiritual thing, and not sacrifice. That's a carnal thing. He telling you he prefers spirit to carnal. Then he says, and the knowledge of God, that's a spiritual thing, more than burnt offerings. That's a carnal thing. He's telling you he prefers spirit over carnal. Let's see if they got it in here somewhere else. Let's go to 1 Samuel 15. Y'all gonna start understanding whenever you stop listening fast from those doctrines that those men are teaching you. Then you're gonna be able to understand what the Most High is saying. Until then, you got all of the filthiness inside of you, inside your brain. You gotta purge that stuff out of you. Now you're thinking. All right, we're gonna start at 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 20. So this is talking about when the Most High gave Saul an order. He told Saul to go and destroy Amalek utterly, right? Destroy Amalek utterly, right? But Saul didn't do it. Saul took his own opinion about what he wanted to do. And when he did, He went against the Most High. Now, I want you to equate this to what we just read about the Comforter, and we read about whenever Christ, the scriptures said the veil rent in two. It says stop doing the carnal law, start doing the spiritual law. Because when Christ died, he flipped the switch. He said, go spiritual now. Now that's what the Most High, that's the order now. That's the last order we got. Go spiritual. You saying, no, I'm going to go carnal. So now you're disobeying the order. The order of a man don't matter. The man's order don't matter. What matters is what the book says. The order of God. This is his voice. The word. This is what guides us. The book said go spiritual. You're saying, no, I'm going to follow the carnal law to the day that I die. So you're saying, I don't care what the Most High said. I'm going to do what my king told me to do. What my other God told me to do. Not the God of heaven, but my other God. This is what happens when you listen to something else instead of what the Most High tells you to do. Even that old man inside of you. Because this Saul's old man that told him to do what he wanted to do. Y'all gonna figure it out after a while. Okay? So now, let's read it. Starting at verse 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me. So now he lying. Because Samuel hear all them sheep and all them oxen and all that other stuff. Y'all gonna find out what them sheep and oxen are. Right. I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. Now he had mercy on that king. See, that Most High said, kill him. Y'all don't know, but whenever the Most High saying kill, he means something else. It's just a similitude of what he means when he says kill. Y'all don't know that. We're going to get it for you. Verse 21. But the people took the spoil, sheep and oxen. Sheep and oxen are followers. That thing is telling you, the Most High is telling you what not to do. Because they coveted those sheep and oxen. The sheep and oxen, these people think that the reason that we own YouTube here is to try and get their members so we can take their members' money away from them. Y'all notice we ain't got no building that we preaching out of. Y'all notice that, right? Y'all notice we ain't got no whole bunch of mechanisms set up to take a bunch of money and all that other stuff. We ain't got no means by which we can go and give all of these assets to the people to keep the nation going and all that. Our job is to teach. That's what we doing. Those guys are going to figure it out after a while because we teaching you all to be independent of them. The Most High said, but the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. He telling you, don't covet them people's congregation. We don't. And they're going to sacrifice it. They're going to do a carnal thing when he told them to do something else, right? And then Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. He's telling you he prefers the spirit to the carnal. He prefers the spirit to the carnal. Yeah. So now I made a sidebar about what those sheep and oxen are. All right. Let's go to Romans 15:4. So you'll know this book is talking about something else. Right. than what you've been taught. It's telling you. Romans 15:4 is going to explain it to you. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures, the word, another comforter. Y'all see that? These words mean something. It's telling you something, but you're carnal and you can't see it because you're carnal. You gotta convert to spiritual. Get these spiritual eyes. It's telling you who the comforter is. That's the script, the spirit. That's the scriptures. That's your guide. The word is spirit. That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. Hope of salvation. That's what you're going to get it from. But everything that was written aforetime was written for your learning. Y'all didn't see that. Y'all done read what happened with Saul and the Amalekites all those many times, but y'all ain't know what it's talking about with those sheep and those oxen. When the Most High talking about, the Most High said, "The sheep of my pastures are men." He's telling you when you see the word sheep, he mean men. That's what he's telling you. He's telling you how to read the book. The sheep of my pasture are men. He's telling you the word sheep mean men. It ain't telling you, oh, only the men gonna be, worthwhile to the Most High. Not the women, not Eve. Eve wicked. But it's the men who gonna be the leaders and we the good ones. All the women are bad and evil. That's how a man ends up getting your mind. He keeps telling you that stuff. But the thing is, it was written two different ways. It was written two different ways. One carnal, one spiritual. If you listening to the carnal, you thinking that those men are far superior to you. When the Bible say we're going to be joint heirs. Joint heirs. That's what it says. Y'all need to start reading the book. So let's go back to Samuel. We're going to start at 18. We're going to get you to understand we ain't here to take nobody's congregation. That's not our job. Those are the beliefs of desperate men who are being called out for their wickedness and their ignorance. Because it's pretty obvious. What we saying is totally different than what they saying. That's just like when Christ came on the scene. And I'm not saying I'm Christ. I'm saying I'm using his doctrine. And when his doctrine came up against those Pharisees' doctrine, they looked stupid. Just like them guys looking stupid right now. When they try and explain to you, well, what better way to honor Christ than to wear purple? By that statement, when somebody says, what better way to honor Christ than to put this cross on, because that's what he died on. What better way to wear purple to honor his death than to wear purple? Because that's what they mocked him with. That's the same statement. So you can't come back and then criticize somebody for wearing a cross. Because you just said it's okay to wear the purple that they mocked him with. Y'all got to look at who y'all listening to. Notice they don't go and address the accusations that were made. They go and they put up puppet shows because they can't explain it. Just like they couldn't explain what Christ was saying. We ain't Christ. We his prophets. We using his words. His words came from the Most High. He the Word. When the Word come up against them carnal dudes, they can't explain it. They never knew that a thorn existed. That's a new concept to them, just like it is to you. They never knew that purple was a color of conquering. They always saw it as a royal color. But the scriptures said it's something else. They never saw that. The Most High said he was going to make them blind. They can't explain it. That's why they're scared. Notice, we continue to teach. Yeah, they're making their threats, their veiled threats and all that other stuff, but we continue to teach. Because our faith in the Most High, the moment one of them do something to us, they're finished. They're finished. We know that. If we check out, we go and we wait till it's over, and then we're going to raise them up in 1,000 years and we're going to judge them. We're going to be saying, remember me? Yes, that's right. That's what's going to happen. We don't fear death. That's why we ain't stopped. And we're going to keep preaching to the Most High, carry us home. But I got off track. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 18. So we can explain, we don't want them people's congregation. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites and fight against them until they be consumed. Y'all don't understand. When the Most High talking about killing, this is similar to a different kind of killing. Let's go to Romans 6. Romans chapter 6, verse 1. Listen, this is what it means to kill in the Bible. Okay? What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. No. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know ye not that so many of us are baptized into Jesus Christ, were baptized into his death? Death. Therefore, we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we should walk in newness of life. Whenever he's saying death, he talking about you. For you, it means newness in life, meaning you got to stop doing that old covenant and start doing the new covenant. Convert. That's what death means. They can't explain that to y'all because they don't know. That's why they scared. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection. Yes, we gonna resurrect as a new creature, not doing that old law, following this spiritual law. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him. He's talking about killing the old man. When he's talking about death in the Bible, it's talking about killing the old man. That the body of sin might be destroyed. The old man, kill the old man, the sinful man, the carnal man, that henceforth we should not serve sin. We ain't doing that carnal stuff no more. That's what that's saying. Y'all don't understand that. So when we go back and they start talking about this killing, you understand he killing. When he represents killing, he's telling a story, an allegory, a similitude about what he means today. Once after Christ comes, when he flips that switch, now you're supposed to read it differently. Verse 19, whenceforth then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, the congregation. That's what it's talking about. And did his evil in the sight of the Lord. Most High ain't tell you to go up in here and start trying to be carnal like these men and try and take their congregation. It's going to tell you about the congregation in a second here. And Paul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and utterly killed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil sheep, followers, and oxen, followers, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. He's telling you, go and teach my word. Don't covet their sheep and their oxen for yourself. That's a stumbling block for a preacher. That's a stumbling block for a prophet. Because everybody wants that renown and that honor to be held up and all like that. But the Most High is jealous. He don't want you sharing your glory for him with anybody. But it's hard for a man when they hold him up not to want to be renowned. It's hard. That's a warning to the prophets. We don't want their congregation. We fear the Most High. Because after all of this happened, Saul was scared. He was begging him, please, please, ask the Most High to forgive me. But it was too late. The Most High had rejected him. When you don't do what the Most High said do, he's going to reject you, just like he rejected Saul. He told Samuel, let's get it. Verse 16 and 1. Now this after Saul fall, he done with the Most High. He tells that prophet, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? He's telling you, he don't care about somebody who's not obedient to him. He's telling us, look, if them people don't listen, move on. That's what he's saying. I don't care. I gave him the opportunity. He's showing all of y'all mercy. He's showing all of y'all mercy. And y'all just flip it off like, whatever. They just want out of congregation. Keep thinking that foolishness. The Most High moving on. We trying to save y'all lives. Y'all don't even understand that. He said, how long, he said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. He said, listen, let them hear it or forbear it. We don't care. Grab your oil and go anoint them other people. You gave them the opportunity. Now go and anoint them other people. That's what he said. He's not going to sit up in here and beg y'all to do what the Most High say. He God. Y'all see what's going on? Them people got in that capital. Babylon has fallen. It's just a matter of time. Don't y'all see that? These people hate each other. But let's move on. We done got off track. I don't want to get too far off track. Let's go back to John so that you get to understand it here again. John chapter 14 and 15. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world could not receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye knoweth him, for he dwelleth in you, and shall be in you. It's talking about the spiritual law. That's what that's talking about. It's telling you the spiritual law going to dwell in you if you take the time to learn it. All right? I will not leave you comfortless, and I will come to you. So when you start getting an understanding of the spiritual law, that's Christ. Christ is the word. The word gonna come to you. You're gonna be able to look at the word and say, wait, that don't mean that. All right. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. So he was saying, right now, in that time, he said, they're not gonna see me no more because they're gonna kill me, right? But ye see me because I live, ye shall live also. So he had taught them. He taught them how to see spiritual, right? So they can live, right? Uh, and that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. All right. So that's what's going to happen in the future. He did it again in chapter 15. He gave you the same understanding. He said, but when chapter 15, verse 26, John chapter 15, verse 26. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth. He just said it again. The law, the spiritual law, is the Comforter, which proceedeth from the Father. He shall testify of me, and ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. All right? So let's move on, and we're going to start talking a little bit about this Passover so you can get to understand.